Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Oz Museum. Here we start out in the sepia tone land of Kansas. As you take a look around, you'll see Auntie M's farm, and we start off here on Auntie M's porch. But if you take a look over there above the wind machine, you see the tornado that's about to whisk us away into the Technicolor land of Oz, where we are going to experience over 150 years of Oz history. So come along. And as we are whisked into the land of Oz, we see over here that the house has landed on the Wicked Witch of the East, being visited by one of our munchkins, another one over here along with Dorothy. And then we start diving into the original history, starting with its author, L. Frank Baum. This here is some of his history. And we move into the book series. L. Frank Baum himself wrote 13 of the novels. There are a total of 40 Wizard of Oz novels. And the Wizard of Oz really is a great precursor to, some of the more known fantasy books of today. For example, Harry Potter takes a lot of things from Oz, among others. Then we kind of take a look at some Judy Garland history here, including one of the dresses that was worn. There's even a memorial to Toto. We have a fun little Land of Oz munchkin bench here that just got donated to us recently. And then we move into kind of how the film started taking place from the book series. There was an original play that was done before the movie. And between the popularity of the book series and the play itself is kind of how the movie idea took place. These here are some of the Munchkin costumes that were shown in the film. And this here was was some outfits from little Olga, who was one of the Munchkins. This was her dressing trunk from when she was promoting, her own act post Wizard of Oz. So, some really neat stuff. We got to have her here before she passed, and we've gotten to have a number of Munchkins come through the area throughout our time. Then as we continue on, we go through more of the history of some of the other characters, including the Scarecrow. And here we have some lore as to some folks who were considered for some of the roles. Shirley Temple was one that was considered for Dorothy. W.C. Field was considered for the Wizard, among others. Then we move on to some more of the movie memorabilia here. This one where you see the hot air balloon of the State Fair was an original piece of the pre-production storyboard for The Wizard of Oz. We have some pictures and a signature plate of the director of the movie. And then we take a look at some of the stuff with the Tin Man here. So one of the interesting pieces of trivia about this is the original Tin Man was actually cast with Buddy Ebsen, who was Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies, but he was allergic to the makeup, and he had to be placed in an iron lung for a while, and he dealt with a lot of issues with his lungs because of his experience on this show throughout his life. This here is a pretty cool poster. As I mentioned before, there was a play version of The Wizard of Oz, and this is one of the posters advertising for that play. And then we move into a bit more history about some of the other things with the film. So the tornado, this isn't an actual one of the tornadoes, but the tornado was actually 30 feet tall, and it was basically a bunch of wires wrapped in muslin. And it was attached to the top of a stage car, and they just drove around to make it look like a tornado. Now this here, this is actually a photograph because we actually have the 6x8 inch rubber monkey from the Wizard of Oz film, but it is too fragile to be displayed because of all the lights that actually takes away from the quality over time. This one here is one of the 350 spotlights that were featured on set, and these put off so much heat, so much so that like the Cowardly Lion in his getup, like it was just soaked through day after day after day because of the heat. They had to really be careful, and some people, did kind of almost get heat stroke from the heat of these lights during that time period. We move over here to more costume design stuff. And some history on the ruby slippers. Now, none of these are the actual ruby slippers, but they are the ones that you see on this display here were hand-jeweled slippers to commemorate the 50th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz. We also have a display that we rotate out on a regular basis from the International Wizard of Oz Club. So this is what we have currently on that. A lot of it has to do with the Wizard of Oz on ice right now. So much like how there's Disney on ice now, and among other things, this was various renditions of ice skating versions of Wizard of Oz. And then through here, we show the movie of Wizard of Oz on a constant loop so that our customers have the opportunity to watch part, or if they want to sit here for a couple hours, all the movie if they so wish. On the floor here, we have several different handprints of folks that have been associated with the movie, whether that be munchkins or children of some of the actors, Oz historians, some of our important donors that helped make this museum happen. So anytime we do have a special guest that's associated with the movie here during our Oztoberfest, which is our Wizard of Oz festival that happens the first weekend of October every year, we always like to have them leave their signature and handprints behind as a lasting memory. We go through here, touch upon a little bit on the Cowardly Lion before we enter the haunted forest. And this haunted forest was all handcrafted by artists to give kind of the look and feel of what the haunted forest would be like in the movie itself. And then this here is a Winky Guard outfit here that is from a gentleman's private collection that has been loaned to us that came from the movie itself. And then that kind of leads us into some stuff on the Winky Guards and the flying monkeys. This over here is another Winky Guard, and if you come around here and you see their spears were 10.5 feet long. Then over here we have our new crystal ball exhibit that we are still putting some final touches on and whatnot. This is going to be an interactive exhibit that we have. Then we move on to some of the history of the Wicked Witch of the West and Glinda the Good Witch. And then we move on over here to some of the sequels and other adaptations of Oz. There's a kids' movie called Legend of Oz. There's a Muppet Wizard of Oz. There's the famous Broadway musical of The Wiz, of which there's been a couple of renditions of as well. Then we move into here. We see that we have a replica of the hot air balloon. These are Winky Guard long coats from the 2011 Andrew Lloyd Webber adaptation of The Wizard of Oz that was produced in 2011. Now, this one here is a really cool thing. This is one of the original farmhouses that you see in the movie that is being spun during the tornado scene. There are only a few of these left in existence, so it's really special that we are able to host this. And then we have just some other kind of pop art regarding Wizard of Oz here. And last but not least, we take a look behind the curtain and get a chance to meet the wizard. So I hope you all have enjoyed just a brief walkthrough. We'd love to have you here and show you through and take some time with you and talk with you more about Oz Museum and everything else we have here. And once you're done with the museum, you come back through into the land of Oz like they do at the end of the film. And we have a lot of Wizard of Oz memorabilia for you to look through, to purchase, so you can take home a souvenir of your experience here in the Oz Museum.